G'day everyone and welcome to Retrospectreviews, and today I'm going to talk about the game that made me fall in love with graphic point and click adventure games, Zak McKracken and the Alien Mindbenders. Well, the first time I got my hands on a copy of Zak McKracken and the Alien Mindbenders was not this copy. It was a pirated copy. Yes, back in the early 80s, I had a Commodore 64 and a friend brought over a copy of Zak McKracken. And from the very first title screen to the first obstacle you had to do, I was in love with this game. So the reason I've decided to do this video now is the fact that when I first played Zak McKracken was around this time. Now, it's school holidays in Australia, so I was home with my brand new Commodore 64 that my grandmother brought me, and like I said before, a friend brought the game over and said, "You have to play this game." And I was instantly fell in love. I had no idea at the time that George Lucas' company even made games. As far as I knew, he just made Star Wars, a few of my other favourite films, The Labyrinth and so forth. So when I saw that LucasArts logo came up, I was in love and I couldn't wait to play more. So I searched high and low for a copy of Zak McKracken, dragged my mum around to two of the biggest computer stores in Sydney at the time, but with no luck I couldn't get an original copy. So I ended up searching for months looking for an original copy, and I found somebody selling one in the local trading magazine. So I rang them up and said, "Do you still have the copy? I would like to buy it." And unfortunately they had sold their Commodore 64 and Zak McKracken along with it. But the guy said to me, "I do have the backup copies left. Somehow they didn't get put in with the bundle. If you'd like them, come over and you can have them." So I dragged Mum over and picked them up. And from that day, I played Zak McKracken every day by myself and with my friends, trying to solve the puzzles. And didn't really complete Zak McKracken until I got this copy, which is an IBM copy, and I had my first Acer 486, I believe. And so me and my mate sat down and said, "We are going to complete Zak McKracken," and we did. We played it from the beginning to the end. It took us hours and hours, but we finally got to see the end. So I got this copy from the local department store when I moved out of home and moved down the coast from Sydney. It was in the Kmart. I'm not sure if there's a Kmart. I think there's Kmart in America, and I'm not sure about England and the rest of the world. But so they had this box sitting by itself. There was no game. Inside was the manual, the codes, everything, but the discs were missing. And I thought, well, I don't have the original discs, but I do have a couple of copies. I'll just take the lot because it's always good to have the codes. So I grabbed that. I think they only wanted like $5 because the discs were missing. So the story goes, a couple of weeks later, I go back just browsing in the computer section of Kmart, and there were the discs in the bargain basket that they had on top of the counter with reduced to clear, just the discs. And I thought, wow. So I got the discs for a couple of bucks again. So I got the complete box set of this extra large, not the exact original, but close enough for me. I'd love to get the original, but I think last time I saw the original going for, I think it sold on eBay for $180 complete. And yeah, I just don't think I can stretch my game budget that far at the moment, because I have spent a lot in the last couple of years on building my collection back up. Anyhow, I digress. So inside this box, let's have a look. So these are the original Zak McKracken discs, backup discs that I got off that guy. So I've still got them. So that's for the Commodore 64. And I've still got, I've made backups of the backups. And here are the original IBM discs that I picked up separate from the game and box a couple of weeks after. I have a saved game disc for the IBM. A little bit of pamphlet here with different LucasArts games or extra large big box games. The security pamphlet, I don't know if you can really see that, it's a bit hard. There's the codes there, kind of. Oh god, that's terrible. So there's the codes, and obviously got the manual. Now, I don't know why I've got a smaller version of the newspaper. I think that might have came with the box. But somewhere along the line, I have picked up the original big newspaper. I think I got this off a friend, and I'm not sure where he got it from, but he gave it to me because he knew how much of a huge Zak McKracken fan I was. So that's everything in the box. So let's find out a little bit more about the plot of Zak McKracken and a bit more about the history of the making of this brilliant game. The story is set in 1997, 10 years after the game's production. The plot follows Zak, full name Francis Zachary McKracken, a writer for the National Inquisitor, a tabloid newspaper. The name is thinly veiled allusion to the National Enquirer. Annie Laris, a freelance scientist, along with Melissa China and Leslie Bennett, two Yale University co-students, in their attempt to prevent the nefarious alien Caponians who have taken over the phone company, an amalgamation of various telecommunication companies around the world, from slowly reducing the intelligence of everyone on Earth by emitting a 60 Hz hum from their mind-bending machine. The Scholarians, another ancient alien race, have left a defense mechanism hanging around to repulse the Caponians. The Scholarian device, which needs reassembling and startup, unfortunately the parts have been spread all over the Earth and Mars. Zak McKracken and the Alien Mindbenders was developed and published by Lucas Games. It was the second game to use the SCUM engine after Maniac Mansion. Like Maniac Mansion, Zak McKracken was initially developed for the Commodore 64 and ported later to other systems. The project was led by David Fox, with Matthew Allen Kane as the co-designer and co-programmer. Fox consulted with New Age writer David Spangler for the game's material. The game was originally meant to be more serious, resembling the Indiana Jones series, but Ron Gilbert pressured David Fox to increase the humorous aspect of the game. The game was heavily inspired by many popular theories about aliens, ancient astronauts, and mysterious civilizations. The many places visited in the game, common hotspots for these ideas, such as the pyramids of Egypt and Mexico, Lima, Stonehenge, the Bermuda Triangle, and the face of Mars. The Scholarians are based on grey aliens, while the Caponians are derived from Al Capone, are primarily based on the Men in Black, with their Cadillac-shaped spaceship with their Elvis-themed leader, nicknamed the King. The Caponians also have heads shaped like Easter Island Mayo statues. All official versions of the game, except for the FM Tower port, require the player to enter copyright protection codes called exit visa codes inside the game. Whether they fly outside the United States, the codes were printed in black on the dark brown paper sheet included in the game package to make photocopying more difficult. They consisted of Commodore 64 graphic characters, making it difficult for would-be software pirates to include them in a text file with a pirate copy. The codes did not have to be entered while flying in the US, or when the player is at an airport in another country. If the player enters the wrong codes 5 times, Zak gets locked in the Kathmandu jail and his guard makes a lengthy anti-privacy speech. Nevertheless, pirated versions of the game quickly popped up anyway. in which the player may enter any code. Modern day correct versions completely removed the need to enter Visa codes. While copyright production codes were left out of the Commodore 64 version of Manic Mansion for lack of disk space, the developers solved the problem in Zak McKracken by putting the game engine on a separate startup floppy. This freed enough space to include the codes on the main disk. The Commodore version of Zak McKracken did not have CBM DOS files or raw data, but was not protected and code could be backed up. Well, that's it. That's my look at Zak McKracken, my all-time favourite game on any system. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a like and to share. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I'll let you know when I upload a new video. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time. Bye from me.